loaded slate tonight as far as the MLB slates. I think it's a 12-gamer, despite the fact there's 12 games. Not a lot of trusty arms throwing baseball tonight. Such a weird slate. We're here with you, taking you all the way up the lock. Of course, the Crunch Time crew. You got Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth. Any precipitation, any weather issues, of course, he's going to be all with that. His article's up on the site. I'll go ahead and drop it in chat for the people as well. Not the Weather Edge. The Weather Edge, that is a part of premium, but you can read the weather reports at your own leisure. What's up, chat? Hit that like button, subscribe, turn on those notifications, do all those things that helps us beat the algorithm. Lets you know lets us know we're doing an all right job. Dave Potts as well, two-time millionaire winner. Dave Potts as well as one-time millionaire winner. Andre will be joining the Crunch Time crew. Y'all get the millionaire show for sure. Kirkwood, Chris Curtis, a.k.a. Kid Yahoo, is with me. I'm hearing some noises in the background. Is that a chair? Is that a drink? Did something fall? Are we flustered? I'm feeling something's flustering over there, Kirkwood. What's up? Welcome to Friday. Welcome to the show. How are things in your world?
Hey, did you see Vinny Linguini homered on Prince Spaghetti Day Wednesday?
Oh, wait, I didn't know. Wednesday is Prince Spaghetti Day. Is Prince like a restaurant in your area or something?
They're like a low budget pasta company, but they've been around for forever. And I posted a tweet, got no traction, but you're gonna have to go back and look at it.
Yeah,
and, there's a little video of the first commercial that they used to do that talks about Prince Spaghetti, but it's officially Prince Spaghetti Day. But neither here nor there. We're here to talk about the slate today. Although I had a really good time. I feel like the last show we did with Chop was really good.
Yeah.
But we talked zero DFS. I felt like we gave no DFS advice at the end of it, but we had a good time. And I was thinking that's what this show should ultimately be, is like get people a little snippet here and there, some comedy, get them feeling good to then transfer them over to Cheese and let Dave tell them what to do.
Lube them up and then Cheese, obviously they take him home, right? As far as knock out the slate.
Lube them up and Cheese takes them down.
Yeah, well, there's probably a better way to phrase that, I suppose. But, the other thing is we can kind of pace ourselves, right? We're here for an hour and 10 minutes at this point until we hand it off to Crunch Time. And I think that was a smaller slate, too. So it's one of those things where we just couldn't talk about the entire slate because, if we just fly right through it, which you theoretically could have done in 15 minutes or so, then we're just sitting there staring at each other and waiting for, the chat to chime in, waiting for, some sort of nonsense conversation. But, today we have a lot to talk about and a little to talk about. It's sort of strange, and I'm curious. I want to pick your brain because, and Dave wrote about this too in his musings. We kind of feel similarly, and I imagine you do as well, but maybe you don't. This feels like the most wide open slate probably we've had the entire year. There's no pitcher that's like, oh my God, I got to have that pitcher, right? There's no offense where I'm like, oh my God, I got to have that offense. This offense is spectacular. It's facing a gas can. The ballpark is incredible. It's it's getting the fire emoji according to Kevin Roth, 90 degrees out. Nothing like that. Nothing. I don't think we have a 6 total on the board or anything close to a 6 total on the board. The best pitcher is in Oakland, Kodai Senga for the Mets, the rookie with the ghost fork. Beyond that, and we're not really sure what he is. He looks pretty good, and of course that Oakland lineup's pretty terrible. The ballpark's good to pitch in. The foul territory might lose you a slight tick as far as a projection when it comes to strikeouts. But then it's just a mixed bag. By the way, if you missed this one, Kirkwood, or people out in the chat, Marco Gonzalez got scratched. He's having a child. Tommy Malone. Remember Tommy Malone?
Lefty,
Pepperidge Farm remembers. He is a lefty.
Lefty throws
junk.
Really fast cheese. High cheese. No,
I thought he throws junk, doesn't he?
He does. He throws slow, and he's a non-strikeout guy.
Yeah, pitching in the minors this year. I was curious. I'm like, has this guy been pitching? I don't think so. He had one start about 10 days ago or so in the minors. I don't think he's thrown a baseball yet in the major leagues. Last year, did not play much at all in the majors. Not much of a sample, but no longer a prospect. I think he's got to be 30, right, at this point. How old is Tommy Malone? 36. Wow.
Some are saying older than Head Chopper.
I don't know. I would say just slightly under, but I don't know. Chop's Chop is a man of mystery. I don't know his official age, but I would guess Chop is older than 36. I don't know how deep Malone's going to go, but I think he went 4, maybe 5 innings or so in that start. I was just looking at it before the show, and I closed it out in the minor leagues just to see what kind of a ability as far as pitch count. But long story short, I'm not looking at the play time alone. Yeah, just throwing that out there. And I thought Marco Gonzalez was at least interesting in this slate because the opportunity cost of pitcher is not that great. There's not. If we pull up the lineup HQ, actually, we can find this. As far as the pitcher that's projected to have, who has the highest K projection as far as props. I'm trying to find this on the fly. Do you happen to have this in front of you? I don't know why I can't get to it. I'm struggling.
I can get it rather quickly. Hold on.
Yeah, it's not high. Is the point I'm getting at?
I'm gonna look at like odds, like real. I'm not gonna look at the bat right now, but like from a betting perspective, looks like 5.5, 5.5, 5.5. I'm trying to see if there's anyone over 5. Looks like 5.5 is the highest everywhere, juiced up.
Senga is not above a 5.5. You might be. No.
Let me see. Maybe I missed him somehow. He's not even on here.
Okay, right. So you pull up scores and odds. He's 5.5, but minus 165. So the juice is heavily on the over. So there you go. Yeah, Manaya.
Yeah. 5.5. Yeah, he's minus 190 on DK right now.
Nestor Cortez, Fabulous Mustache, 5.5.
That means all that means is who's betting, which side people are betting. It's not like they've pegged the number. Their number was 5.5, and the juice is just coming from the bets.
Well, sometimes it starts out like that just because.
Yeah, they'll start it a little high because they'll know and they don't want to go up to a number. But when you see numbers like 190, they're never starting it like there.
Do you agree with me, by the way, my overall assessment? Just give me the screenshot as far as this. Like, there is a lot, but like there's nothing to love. Is there anything you're afraid of not having? Like, oh my God, I must stack this team or I must roster this pitcher. I don't see it. I think this is a good show to just kind of talk it out and just see where we're at. And I also think if anything kind of happens to pop in as chalk, it's almost definitely like bad chalk, right? Like, especially from a hitting perspective. Pitching, I'm probably going to be playing, Senga just because I have the money for it. He feels the most reliable here against this terrible Oakland team. But you tell me, like, where are you at? What are you seeing as far as the slate overall?
Yeah, and forgive me, I didn't get to read Cheese today. That's like probably the first time in years. This slate is completely wide open. There are some, for grading on a curve, some high end pitchers here, and that it's basically 3, 4 but one is priced so outrageous that don't really want to go there. So we got Nestor Cortez, who's 9,500. He looks pretty safe. I don't care that the Twins went berserk yesterday and ruined the slate in the first inning. It was awful.
Somebody did not stack the Twins yesterday.
No, I mean, and I had that rookie too, basically everywhere, but I didn't want him on Yahoo. I wanted to pay up for Donovan, so I switched it. And I didn't want Correa because of his back issues. So I switched Correa and that guy out, and I took a pay down bat. It just totally. I knew I was dead within the first 5 minutes.
He was yesterday's Dean's Dong pick. I'm not sure if you caught that. If you're watching the show, I mean, right there, you should have known. Lock it in. First of his career. I saw TJ's Warich, the Spidey Bombs. He picked Anthony Rizzo, and good for him. He had 2 home runs, but anybody can predict.
I had Rizzo.
Somebody hitting
Rizzo.
Yeah, but he hit his 285th homer. Congratulations. And it's 286. I think he had 2. I predicted the very first. It's never happened before in history. Continue. Go ahead. Just want to take the victory lap over TJ.
You don't have the victory lap. It's unbecoming, Dean. People know. People know. You just said that. Stopped it right there and gave credit to the Spidey Bomb because Spidey Bomb has been cruising lately.
He's been doing good.
But anyway, so there's Nestor Cortez. Looks safe to me at 9,500. Not the biggest strikeout guy, but nobody is really. Well, then we got Senga, but do we really know? I mean, he's outperformed my expectations so far, but then again, it was 2 starts against the Marlins, so we haven't really seen anything yet from him.
Okay, this is Oakland though, so it might as well be the Marlins.
Yeah, I know exactly. It might as well, but they also went nuts against Baltimore the other day against Mean Dean. I told you I'd rather have Mean Dean Shevelson out there against me than Mean Dean.
I didn't put up a negative. I got a 0.
Yeah. Luis Garcia is a strikeout value play, and I'm fine going him everywhere. He's looked rough to start, to say the least. But I mean, it's early. This happens. There are some warning signs. His fastball velocity has been down. He's been giving up a ton of hard contact, but I don't know. You gotta put a little faith in him, and 8,600. Take a chance here and ride with it, because there's really not a lot other than that. There's Drew Rasmussen, but he's like priced too high, and it's not the best matchup against Toronto. Although he could certainly do well and have a good start. So I'm fine if like you have the money. I would probably go up there, but he's kind of like on the outside looking in for me. Other than that, there's some other guys you can take some stabs on. I mean, Charlie Morton hasn't figured anything out yet either, but we do have a good, track record. I mean, is he washed at this point? It could be.
He's
right?
old.
He's definitely getting up there to Chop's age. But other than
he's older than Tommy Malone by like 5 years, I think.
Yeah.
How old is Charlie? 40?
Brady Singer, I could get behind a little bit, but man, that seems like he's probably gonna have a tough start against the Braves. Twisted Steel, Sex Appeal, Justin Steele. Probably not.
I just love that Justin Steele is playing against Noah Syndergaard. I just enjoy that.
Yeah.
The dude named Steele is playing against Syndergaard. It's just kind of fun. Just sort of worked out that way.
Against Thor.
Yeah, man, it's rough. Well, you mentioned the Rasmussen thing. Ownership, I mean, the salary doesn't keep me away. Like, I can pay it. It's an overpay. But if I like him, I like him. I don't know if I like him is the other part of it. But I don't know if I want to pick on Toronto necessarily. Jeffrey in the chat saying that Blue Jays roof is open. I've not confirmed or denied. I'm not sure what the weather is in Toronto these days. But typically it is closed. But, worth noting. Boston, the weather in Boston's pretty cool. You got boots on the ground. Did you walk outside today? Did you look out your window?
It's been 80 degrees and beautiful today, but it's taken a dip now this evening, supposedly. Because I saw that too. I was like, because Roth wrote up cool in Boston. I was like, oh my God, I was just out walking my son and dog, and it was hot as can be. The wind was howling a little bit, but then I looked up later on. It's supposed to drop, pretty nice drop off. So, I mean, it's still not terrible weather. It's fine. And yeah, I like that. I like that game for bats, certainly.
Yankee Stadium, pretty positive. Big sample, 253 games, 81 degrees. We have a breeze out to left field, 9 miles per hour. 5.4% bump in homers. Previous game, 7.4% bump in runs as well. You mentioned Nestor Cortez. Doing the other side, it's just sort of like a wild card. We don't really know much about the guy throwing baseballs for Minnesota tonight. Positive weather in Kansas City as well. 14 miles per hour winds. We're looking at out to left center field. And also it's 80 degrees. 51 games, similar weather, 16.9% bump in homers, 9% bump in runs. Of course, you can get all this at your own leisure with Kevin Roth's Weather Edge tool if you happen to have premium. Hey, I actually put a tweet out today. If you want to win yourself, not 1 week, but 2 weeks. 2 weeks free of RG Premium. How do you do that? How do you go about winning that? You correctly predict the player. I say player because you want to pick a pitcher, have at it. Pick a pitcher. Tell me the pitcher or player that scores the most DraftKings points, and tell me the points as well. Where would you tell me? Not in the chat. I'm going to drop this link in chat. Just respond to this tweet, and you will have a chance to win 2 weeks free. RotoGrinders Premium, not just baseball, all the sports, every sport you can think of, with the exception of NASCAR. Let's just pretend for the sake of the bit that it's not a sport. So you get all the sports. Have at it. Respond to that tweet. Get yourself 2 weeks free of RG Premium. Roth is tweeting something out. What's he tweeting out as far as weather? I thought there's nothing really to worry about. He's talking about Cincinnati. That's not in this slate, right? I don't think unless I missed something. The Reds play like 6:40 games, something. Yeah. Okay. Something weather-wise as far as the Reds. I guess it's like an issue going on there to some degree. Check out Kevin Roth's Twitter. Ownership-wise, right? What are we seeing as far as ownership when it comes to the pitchers? Mets pitcher Kodai Senga is getting 34% ownership, which I think makes a lot of sense. Cortez, 30%. I think it makes sense as well, facing Minnesota. Luis Garcia, you mentioned his struggles. And how do you quantify this, by the way? Because he's getting 24%. Michael Wacha, 23%. Tommy Milone's now getting 13% because he has 4K. What is his projection? He's actually got a pretty okay projection. Facing a really bad Colorado team, huge negative ballpark shift, basically one of the biggest in baseball. Seattle, I feel like it's a bottom 5 hitters ballpark. I know it's one of the worst ballparks to just hit home runs flat out. Will we consider Tommy Milone? Man. It's the slate to do it if you're going to do it. What do you need out of the guy? If you give me 13 points, no more, no less, I'm playing him, I think.
I mean, what kind of a pitch count is this? What does Cardi have in there for a pitch count?
Again, let me pull it up because I
can't imagine it's very.
He hasn't pitched in 10 days, and again, he just pitched I think he's pretty well stretched out. Checking out the game log now on the oh wait, I pulled up the wrong MIIB is what it is. All right, 1 second. I think he's pretty well stretched, and he hasn't pitched in 10 days unless there's something I missed. And again, there's not a ton of pitchers we necessarily love. One game, he pitched 5 innings. I don't think we have the pitch count.
The Rockies, and that lineup is just as putrid as it gets. So,
yeah, I think he's in play. I don't feel good about it, but I think I'm okay with it. As like an SP2 on DK, I'm not sure if I would play him as my one pitcher on Fanduel. I probably wouldn't. But SP2 on DK to really open stuff up. If you want to load up on, Ohtani, Trout, something like that, there's some expensive bats out there, obviously. I don't mind that thought process. Syndergaard getting 10%. I mean, he's past the days of being Thor. We got to give this guy a new nickname. He's just not that guy anymore. He's not that guy. 10% for Syndergaard. Gomber getting 10%. I'm not playing Austin Gomber. I'm just not. It's not happening. I don't make enough lineups. Drew Masquiston's getting 7. I think he's really interesting for tournaments. Charlie Morton's historically a pretty good pitcher, 5%. Hey, let me ask you about this, as far as Luis Garcia. You know how they've changed a lot of rules in the offseason? One of the things they changed that wasn't, obviously other stuff they talk about more so, but I don't know if you ever watched Luis Garcia pitch, but like his signature sort of like his rocking back and forth windup is now like illegal. So he's had to change his delivery. Now, is that small sample stuff? Is that one reason to explain why he's not as good as he was last year? I don't know.
This makes me laugh, and it's the second time this person's been in chat, and so he must be trolling.
Why?
Kirkwood, you've been working out? Like, first of all, you can't see anything other than my face, right? And this is the second time now. So this guy really wants to know if I've been working out, and the answer is hell no. I have not been working out.
Oh, you think it's Chop is listening? And what? You think Chop would go under like a second account? Who would do this?
I don't know.
They're saying that they're being totally serious for what it's worth. I don't know if you want to buy that. They're just doubling down.
I'm at the highest I've ever weighed.
Oh well,
but I'm also spectacular.
I'm still not going to mess with you. I wasn't going to do it either way, but I shouldn't mess with you. All right.
I appreciate a third eye though. It's the third eye looking out for me.
What are we what are we honing in on as far as our pitchers today?
All right. It's like just play. I mean, first of all, the ultimate what have you done for me yesterday is Michael Wacha. Where the hell did that start come out of? 10 Ks, 95 pitches,
is that real?
Six against Atlanta. I mean, and his velocity was down. So I can't imagine it's very real. Garcia, maybe that's the issues you're talking about, where his problems. I mean, he's been horrendous so far. And in his last start, the notes I have, he was down 2 miles per hour on his 4-seamer. His cutter and slider, which are extremely important for him, are only 23% called strike whiffs, and trouble with command. But you know what? I'm going back to him because he's the greaser, we call him, right?
He makes stuff work.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean by that?
No, his hair is the.
Oh, he's always throwing stuff. Yeah, he's got wet hair, and he uses that as kind of a Like that's kind of a cheat code historically, as far as wet hair. There's a couple other. There's a guy in Boston that would drench his hair. Who was that guy? I can't remember who it was.
No, how long ago was this?
I don't remember.
Cam Boy.
That was just as he wouldn't put oil, as far as I know. That's a
I'm
long
gonna do
time
so.
ago.
Put oil in his hair. I'm gonna do something. They're gonna think it's so obvious they'll never see it.
Cam is saying we should play 100% Gomber and print money because I guess did I give him the old hex? Is that what happened there? Are you playing Gomber? Are you considering Gomber? I'm not. To me that's just a no-go. It's not necessary. What is his upside?
Yeah, I mean you could. I know it's not the worst in the world, but it's not much. So yeah, it's really it's Cortez, it's Senga, it's Garcia. I mean, if you want to feel safer and play Waka, the Brewers aren't really that great of an offense, so I'd be fine with that. I mean, you can't touch Berrios. Martin Perez, of all people, even though against Houston, of all things, that could actually work out tonight, I think. Brady Singer, all right, look what Waka did to the Braves. I mean, if there's boom or bust, Brady can get things going. I mean, none of these are feel-good options after like those first three that I talk about. I mean,
are the first three feel good or just they're feel good by default?
They are to me, but I understand the risk I'm taking with Garcia. Senga, sure. I mean, it's Oakland, so I mean, could he have a bad start? Yeah, but how often does that happen? Probably not very often. Nestor Cortez, I think you got to figure the Yankees are going to bounce back after that embarrassment yesterday. Nestor's their one truly reliable pitcher at the moment until the other guys come off of the DL or whatever. Until they
Volpe leading off today for New York, by the way. They keep jumping them back and forth from 1 to 9. They got Volpe, Judge, Rizzo, Stanton, Torres, Cordero, Cabrera, Trevino, and IKF, who pitched the 9th inning yesterday, and I was hoping for a couple more. He was a shutout 9th, so good for him. I would debut.
I would look at Thor and say maybe, but like everything looks awful with him. He couldn't even throw his. He had 50% strikes on his slider, one swing and miss. His velocity is down on his fastball, down to 93 mile per hour. His changeup got one swing and miss. I mean, everything you look at with him, and then he unravels at the one guy gets on and steals a bag, and then he just implodes. And the Cubs will be running. I did the obligatory stolen base props bet on today against Thor.
Nico Horner?
Yeah, Horner, and I also took Bellinger.
Revenge stolen base. This is the first blood revenge game.
Revenge stolen base. That's exactly what.
Those are real.
Yeah.
I was checking, and Nico Horner is the only guy for Chicago that has more than one stolen base this season. He's got 5. I presume he's going to lead off. We don't have an official Cubs lineup just yet, but when it's Thor, right? Basically, it's fair game for most guys. Swanson, I think, would go. Bellinger, you probably got a decent line in it, I assume. I'm not sure.
Bellinger, Bellinger loves to go. He that guy's always, and when that was the only good thing about playing him for like the last 2 years where he's been just so horrendous that like at least if he gets on base, like he grounds into a fielder's choice and he ends up on first alone, he at least swipes the bag. So it's like you get something out of him. And he's back, like you said, it's revenge. I have a feeling he'll be running the bases. Against Thor, you have to.
You just have to go. Mets lineup came out a few minutes ago. Nemo, Marte, Lindor, Polar Bear Alonso, McNeil, CEO of Team Girth, that's Daniel Vogelbach, Escobar, Guillerme, and Nito. That is your Mets lineup. Do they have the biggest total? It's 4.84. Cleveland might be higher, right? What's Cleveland at? What do we have here as far as team totals? Cleveland's at 5.24 against Trevor Williams. That Washington bullpen locked in for 9 innings. Also a bump as far as the ballpark, the atmosphere. Yankees under 5. Yeah, I guess Cleveland is the number 1 team as far as team totals, right? Just got to give it a quick scroll. Houston under 5. You mentioned Martin Perez, a good ground ball guy. The two best hitters for Houston are hitting from the left side. They can't hit lefties, of course. That's Jordan and Tucker. But, no Altuve. It's Hensley, Pena's, down in the 7-hole today that they're starting with McCormick. He's actually been stealing some bags this year, too. Dubon, Maldonado. Houston's got some kind of, some underwhelming hitters beyond their great stuff, obviously. Atlanta against Singer, I think, is pretty interesting. We start talking about stacks. They called up Vaughn Grisham. He's going to make his debut this season. Rookie came up last year. Did not make the ball club, but Arcia went in the IL. That's why Grisham is in there for Atlanta. Kevin Pillar, who some people probably wouldn't believe is still in the league, but he is hitting 8th for Atlanta tonight. Hillard and Rosario also cracked the lineup. My phone, my watch is going off here. I'm getting some notifications. Anything interesting going on as far as the A's lineup? That's what's happening. Oh, Jeffrey Springs out for 2 months. That's a bummer. If you're playing season-long stuff.
Matt,
will the Rays still be undefeated?
I'm going to say it could be karma with him.
What do you mean?
He's a big MAGA guy.
Oh, I don't know his leans. I don't know much about him, but from a fantasy perspective and my season-long team, I'm concerned. But will the Rays be undefeated by the time he comes back? What do you think?
No, but I took the Rays for my Onyx pick for the DK had a promotion for $250,000 split between all Onyx members if you pick the right team to win the World Series.
Okay.
I did take the Rays in that.
Is the thought process like
they're going to win tonight?
Yeah, probably. I assume so. They keep winning. 12-0, 13-0. What are they at right now? Are we officially counting?
I think my thought process was flawed because it was like up until yesterday you could do it, and they like announced it like a week and a half ago. So I thought that like people would do it by the normal odds, right? Like when it came out, they probably picked their team, and that was that. But I think you could edit. I think you could go back in and edit it. So my whole thing was flawed.
Yeah, but also you don't want to be, if you happen to hit it, you don't want to split it with 50 other people. You want to split it with 5 or 10 or whatever it is, right? You want to be ambitious, but not too ambitious, that kind of thing. A's lineup is out. Not good. Kemp, Noda, Rooker, some power there. Loreno, Peterson, Diaz, Capel, Langoliers, and Ruiz as far as the A's facing the chalkiest pitcher on this slate. I want to see on Fanduel.
See what I did to chat by saying karma?
I don't know. I did not watch the chat. I'm sure
I was only joking anyway. I don't really care. I'm not a big political guy.
Yeah.
So take it with a grain of salt. It was a joke.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Keep going.
I want to take a peek at Fanduel as far as, give the love there. Fanduel, of course, the sponsor on Crunch Time. Crunch Time will be starting about 45 minutes or so. Y'all get Kevin Roth. You get Andre and Dave Potts, the Millionaires Club. Ownership-wise on Fanduel, pitching-wise, anything different? Garcia's getting 21%, Cortez 13%, Waka's getting 10%, and Senga's getting 25%. He's 10-8 over there. Garcia's 8-9. I'm not playing cash games today. I have been playing some cash games, but I just didn't I was messing around with builds, and I'm just like, I don't really have a foundation of stuff I like. I don't have really pitchers I feel great building around. So just tournaments for me. I assume same for you. Are you playing cash games tonight or just tournaments?
On DK, just tournaments. On Yahoo, I play cash because you play everything. Yeah, that's all I'm doing. And then I got some bets and I got some stolen base bets.
Are you enjoying the sports betting? I thought you were saying you didn't like it. I feel like you said you didn't like the sports betting in Boston, but I feel like how's that working out for you?
No, I love it. Who said I didn't like it?
Maybe it was Bobby. It might have been Bobby who said that. I don't want to put that on him, but I feel like one of you Boston guys I thought said that, but maybe I'm just mixing things up. It's been a rough week for me. I'm playing injured. I'm not feeling well. I've not felt well all week. Just sort of powering through. So if I mess some things up, I apologize to the chat if I was a little bit goofy this week, but we shall be better next week. Hopefully, we'll see. Summary as far as the pitchers, it's just a huge collection of man. I really can't give a huge endorsement in anybody. What do you have right now as far as Yahoo Cash, your pitchers, or is it somewhat dictated by the prices? I've not looked at Yahoo today, to be honest.
It's Senga. So it's you're either going Senga Nestor or you're going Senga Garcia if you want to save a few bucks and risk it a little bit. Or Cortez, any two of those three.
Do you know, are you locked in?
Rasmussen's cheap too. He's 44. So
is 44 cheap on Yahoo? I feel like that's what's the ceiling these days? Like 60?
Like 58, like 59 or something.
DeGrom's like 58, 59.
I say it for this, like, because he's Cortez is 47, and like, so if you're thinking about DK and Rasmussen's cheaper on Yahoo as opposed to DraftKings.
If there's anybody we missed or anybody who wants to talk about in chat, feel free to throw them out there. I can't get excited about a lot of these pitchers. It's just, I'll say Patrick Sandoval at 2% is kind of interesting if that holds. I know you mentioned liking Boston, but this Boston lineup is a little bit weakened. There's no Duvall, obviously one of their best hitters to start the season. I thought they're gonna lead off Kike Enrique Hernandez with their leading off Verdugo. There's a lot of Ks here. Ref Snyder strikes out a ton, 25%. Devers strikes out a lot versus lefties, obviously really good power hitter. Casas, huge Ks, and Wong with 34%. Chang at the bottom, 35% collectively. Kirkwood, 25.4%. I think that's kind of like my sneaky off the board pitcher. Sandoval, pretty good K pitcher, 22.7% dating back to last season. A little bit, wild. Too many walks, 9.2%. This Boston lineup, some guys can be patient, some guys not so much. It's kind of a mixed bag. What are his splits? Because we're looking at, 3 lefties, 6 righties. I think his splits are pretty good, right? Doesn't yield a lot of power. I just don't think Sandoval should be 3% owned in this slate, is just my point. There's some strikeouts here. Sandoval, is he in the mix for you?
Not me personally, but you're talking to a Boston guy. So he had two strikeouts in his last start. It was a tough match against Toronto, I guess, but this is also their lineup is kind of AAA-ish at the moment, but
yeah,
it's nice that Dahlback's not in there. So
it's good and it's bad, right? Because he's got power, but also he can strike out. And is he bad as a shortstop? I'm assuming he's bad, but I don't know.
First inning, he made right off the bat. He made an error in that game, and we said
okay,
we wouldn't want him fielding shortstop behind him. Yeah. And then that was like a huge part of the Chris Sale implosion. You know what I mean? It's like it definitely factored in. Anyway, so the Red Sox, I think they're going to hit tonight personally, but you could go this route. You do have the track record. He didn't look good in the last start though, so I don't know. But Devers is back in the lineup. That helps Boston. Kiki's up in the order. I mean, Ref Snyder just homered unbelievably, but Turner's finally starting to come alive. But that bottom half of that lineup is really
gross.
Rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
MC wants to know: do we like Morton? Follow-up question: Morton or Garcia? You talked about both of them. Your preference as far as Morton versus Garcia?
I take the young guy, but personally, so Morton's last start, 6 Ks, 5 innings against the Padres, only 27% called strike whiffs, 104 pitches. That's good, and they obviously they're leaving him out there. You know what I mean to go. So you got it. So I guess pitch count you got to feel pretty good about. Let's look at the strikeout rate for. Yeah, this could go well. No, and what he's coming in low owned, right?
We're talking about Morton?
Yeah.
I think so. Yes. Let me just confirm. Give it a refresh. He's not been spectacular this year. I suppose that pushes it down to some degree. 4.3%. Again, I think that's too low too. When you consider the entirety of the slate, as a general rule, I feel like some of these pitchers that are getting a lot of ownership should be a little bit lower. I rarely do this. I usually just these are my 2 or 3 pitchers, my 4 pitchers, and that's that. I'll mix and match. My pool is open, man. Almost like I'm willing to make my stacks first or my lineups first, and like whatever pitchers fit and make that stuff work is something that I'm open to as well. Just the way this slate is. Yeah. The ballpark's not great today as far as – yeah, go ahead.
But if you're looking at this season, Morton's strikeout, his K percentage has been 13.5%. It's very concerning. His swinging strike rate's down to 8.6%.
So that suggests he's been a little bit unlucky as far as strikeouts.
High Sierra. So basically,
dating back to last season, second most Ks in the slate.
I guess his curve, he's not been located. He's not been had any command of his curveball, which is like a huge pitch for him. But you got to think that's coming. I mean, this guy, unless he's like totally lost it, I think this is a good spot to camp. This is a good if he's lower owned, right? So you don't have the ownership of Garcia. We're taking just as big of a risk on Garcia tonight. But at huge ownership, and now you're going to give low ownership against a pretty soft matchup in a pretty decent park.
It's also Fettuccine Friday, so Linguini's going to hit one out, right? He's facing Vinny Pasquantino. If you want to factor that in for Morton, I'm not really sure how this is.
I give him a 14% boost for Fettuccine Friday.
Yeah, is that bigger than what was the Wednesday one called?
No, Wednesday's the biggest boost. Prince Spaghetti Day.
Okay, yeah, he's a big Prince guy. The WOBAs, if you look at the plate IQ, the weighting on base average for this Kansas City lineup they're rolling out today is pretty rough. The only one that's actually got a legit number is the aforementioned Vinny Pasquantino versus right-handers dating back to last season. There are some Ks there, but it's 22.3% as far as striking out. Well, 23.9% collectively versus righties. I'm checking the bat. I'm curious what Cardi has for Malone's pitch count. I can't believe I'm considering Tommy Malone in the year 2023. He's 4K on DK. I don't know if I need that salary, but if I do, I guess we're getting 92 projected pitches, give or take, right? 79 and 92. Okay. Maybe he pitches 5 or so. And that Colorado lineup, not one we're afraid of. Massive downgrade as far as the ballpark shift. I'm open to it. I don't love the idea because it's still Tommy Malone, and you're just hoping for him to survive, and hopefully the BABIP gods are on his side. Somebody asked about you talked about the Boston being a Boston homer. Tanner Houck. Any interest in Tanner Houck?
Not yet. I would have coming into the season, but he's shown nothing in spring and so far this season. He did have 4 Ks in 5 innings, 74 pitches against Detroit. Like you can't do more than 74 pitches against Detroit.
Yeah.
And 31% called strike whiffs. Like I would have been all over him last season and thought he would have improved, but so I'm on a wait and see with him.
Are they pushing him down like intentionally? Is it? I feel like didn't he have some injuries he was battling? Is that what it is? They're kind of babying him a bit.
I think so.
Let's see. Anybody? Varland. I mentioned Varland in passing. For Minnesota, I don't have a read in this situation. I'm more likely to play Yankees than to play Varland. Do you have an official Varland take? Is he somebody that you're considering?
I don't know much about him, but he did pitch last season, right? A little bit.
Dating back to last season in major leagues, we got 26 innings from him. The K rate's not great, 19.8%. As far as fly balls, 41%, ground balls, 35%. The walks are fine, 5.7%, kind of a contact guy. But I'm going to play Yankees, I think, in this slate, especially if they're going to be kind of ignored. We'll see. I think hitters are pretty wide open.
Decent amount of fly balls, decent amount of hard contact, low strikeout pitcher in Yankee Stadium against the Yanks who were embarrassed last night. No, thank you.
We got anything else, or we're moving on? Let's talk about stacks. I'm going to pull up our consensus value rankings as far as our favorite stacks. And by the way, for the record, our consensus value rankings as far as pitchers, the people are curious. Kodai Senga, number 1, Cortez, number 2, Luis Garcia, 3, Waka, 4, Rasmussen, 5, Morton, Singer, Syndergaard, and I got to give it a refresh because this is Marco Gonzalez. I know I swapped that out. Is Tommy Malone? Yeah, there's a little bit of love for Tommy Malone. Dave Potts will be on later, and I'll let you I'll take you behind the paywall for a second. He's got Tommy Malone number 4 as far as his DK pitcher, so he's going to be willing to use him. There you go. Dave Potts in the year 2023 is excited. He's probably putting words in his mouth there. Willing to play. Tommy Malone. As far as the stacks, again, just one team above 5 as far as team totals. That's Cleveland, then New York, Seattle, Baltimore, St. Louis, who another team that really stunk it up last night. I think it's a revenge game, right? Oviedo, didn't he use the pitch for St. Louis tonight? The Mets. Potts likes the Mets. Oakland's bad, and that bullpen's bad. The ballpark's bad too, but the Mets are kind of used to that. Their home ballpark stinks. And I was the only person. No, somebody else. Myself and yourself. We both put the Angels. You have Cleveland number 1. The tricky thing with Cleveland is, and Dave talked about this too, is like they're more of like a sum of the parts team as opposed to individual players outside of J-Ram and Naylor. I always get slack for saying Stephen Kwan needs like 3 events to get there, and a lot of times he gets those 3 events. He's just good at putting the ball in the bat. And against Trevor Williams in that rough bullpen for Washington, locked in for 9, well positioned for 5 ABs. Why is that? Why Cleveland's your number 1 team, or is it by default? I think it's kind of by default.
It's picking on Trevor Williams first of all in Washington. It's also the fact that they're willing to run the bases, so you get steal upside with plenty of the guys, and the lineup's not bad tonight. You know, you got I'm fine. Quan can get you some stolen bags, and he's fine. He probably should have won Rookie of the Year last year. Do you think
who won it?
Close. I don't even remember now.
I don't remember either. I feel like it wasn't very eventful.
No, but I remember thinking that he should have won and he didn't. Rosario has a little pop here, you know, at times where J-Ram hasn't homered yet. Perfect night for him to do it. I actually bet on his homer prop tonight. Josh Naylor has pop. Jimenez has a little bit of pop, some speed. So and then Josh Bell. So I mean, 1 through 6 is decent to me. So this is actually a pretty good lineup for them. And it's in Washington against a really bad bullpen behind Trevor Williams too. My dew point model likes this from a weather standpoint, from the humidity aspect. So I think the ball's going to be fine. There's a little bit of wind going out to left too, 9 miles an hour.
By the way, if I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying that Stephen Kwan is better than Julio Rodriguez. Is that what you're saying?
No, why am I? Of course not.
Did he won Rookie of the Year last year?
What am I? No, AL. What about it? Was
He's in the American League.
Hold on, there was something. I don't know.
Last year you could have said that Steven Strider should have won it against his teammate Michael Harris, if you wanted to say that, I suppose. But those were the two.
That was a no doubter, I think, personally. But why
Harris or Strider?
Quan? What was I thinking of for Quan? Quan was something. I don't know.
I don't know.
Worry. I'm a mess. I'm on no sleep from my kid.
Yeah, no worries. Is Alvarez in the lineup for the Mets?
J-Rod. No, definitely not better than J-Rod.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Obviously, we say things you just sort of forget. Alvarez is not in the lineup for the Mets, Jim. Here, I'll drop our lineups page. It's pretty convenient. If you guys can use this at your own leisure. Also, if you're building lineups, I know people sometimes ask questions and they say, I need the best player that's 3.6K on DK, that's a shortstop. And, you can just use the little scroll. You can, it goes from just move the salary over and players will gradually disappear and you'll see your options. You just click on shortstop, you click on 3.6K or less, and then you'll see I have here's my 7 guys, my 8 people to pick from. A lot of times your choices could be rough. We'll see. Just use that as a random example. Yankees, I think, are pretty interesting. Again, who knows what we're going to get here. The weather looks pretty good. The ballpark in New York is pretty solid. And, the boppers are in there. I like Volpe leading off as a cheapie, setting the table. He has some wheels as well. If he gets on, you can swipe a couple bags. But I don't love a lot. I don't want to pretend like some days you just sort of, you got to play something. You can't just click nothing. I mean, I'm going to play. I'm not going to not play. That's not a choice, right? We're doing the show. We're putting in the research. I think the Angels are pretty interesting against Hawk. Is the Boston bullpen bad or good these days? I think it's bad, right? At least it was to start the season.
They have they're 7th worst Sierra right now.
Yeah, you can actually roster Ohtani versus the monster. You got Trouts. I guess Ohtani, you can go the other way. I suppose that's possible too. Renfroe looks like a really good play against the monster. Is like a general thought. Hoppy, I'm more likely to play a player in the 9-hole on the road as opposed to at home because I think their 4th at bat is much more secure. So yeah, I'm interested in no Hoppy as far as the Angel stack. I think me and you are the only two that actually ranked the Angels, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, we both put them in the top 5. I'm the only one that didn't put the Mariners on there. Am I wrong to do that? I just 1 through 10 is like all kind of the same. So like you got to pick 5, and it's not that I dislike the Mariners or I love Baltimore. That's just how it worked out. I had a hard time ranking my 5 stacks today. Tell me why the Mariners are in play. They're the number 3 consensus wise, number 2 on your board.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just picking on Gomber. Gomber has not shown much. When he first came on, he was all right for a little while, but has just been extremely, at best, mediocre. So this is definitely a good matchup for them. Low strikeout guy, 19% K rate this season so far, under 10% swinging strikes, fly balls. He gives out. He's so how much of that is cores? But he's 53% fly balls so far this season. In the short sample, let's take a look back to last season. He was, where is he?
You keep referencing this year. I like still including last year just because I don't think this year is big enough sample. It's worth
I do
noting
both, but I like to see
it,
I usually like it to more like in a few more weeks, a few more starts, and then but I always take a look because it's like you can see people who just like you give them the benefit of the doubt, but then you see that they've just been following the whole time. I always look at velocity and stuff. So he's 38% fly balls last season, included. Hard contact's been fine, but it's basically just low strikeouts. I mean, this is a lineup that can take advantage of him. So I like Seattle. I think there's a lot of upside. I think the Rockies bullpen is bad. And
no big dumper. No big dumper again. They sit him a lot.
Yeah, but it's lefty. Yeah, lefty. Kelnick, though.
He'll come in later, but you can't play him, obviously, and that kind of kills Murphy as well. Depending on how the situation of the game. Like if it's needed, he'll come in. But I mean, J-Rod, France.
I just like the 1 through 4. So like it's like if a secondary stack with Seattle works nice too. Like you can just pick the home runs hopefully with J-Rod, Suarez, and Teoscar. Could include France, but he's just.
Do you not like Pollock? Pollock once upon a time was a quote unquote lefty masher.
I do not like Pollock, and he was once upon a time.
Dating back to last season, the plate IQ, 141 at bats. That's a good enough sample for you. I'm not really sure. Not striking out against lefties, 17% strikeouts. That's really good for him. 318 ISO. That's pretty good. Teoscar, by the way, a 441 ISO versus lefties. That's a certified lefty masher.
His hard hit rate is just ridiculous.
This is all in the plate IQ data. Let's see what it is. Yeah, 54.4%. Eugenio Suarez, the other guy that bangs lefties, 52.7%. Yeah, that's pretty solid. Kelnick, not very good against lefties, although he's a player that's just like sort of changing and developing. He's, was a quad A player for a while, just smashing, just crushing AAA, and just whenever he gets called up, he just struggles. But he hit that 488-foot homer in Chicago, wind aided, sure, but he's had some other big at bats this year. Looked good in the spring. Maybe he's taking a leap. If he takes a leap, man, this lineup gets noticeably better. We'll see. But historically, what we've seen so far at Kelnick is bad for lefties.
3 homers in 2 days.
I think you can include Pollock in your Seattle stacks for what it's worth. I wouldn't.
He's cheap. He's fine, but it's not like I don't love him.
Derek says Teoscar never does anything for me. Yeah, it's just weird how that works, right? Some players just feels like whenever you roster it, I'm sure you have those guys too, right, Kirkwood? Like the numbers say like it's happened before. It's on record. This guy has actually had a home run in this position and this matchup, but for whatever reason, it never seems to work out when you have him. Somebody in chat was talking about.
I have plenty of guys like that, but he's not on that list for me.
So Chop's not on the show. I don't. Do you have a direct line to Chopper? I know you guys talk in your secret Discord. Is he on?
He plays.
I know who it is. I think I know who it is. It's on his team. It's on his Houston Astros. Is it Martin Maldonado, who is in 24 plate appearances, 21 official, This is Martin Maldonado, not known for more known for the glove and the arm than the stick. 21 ABs, 10 hits, 7 singles, 3 doubles. Oh, come on! I thought there was gonna be some pop in there. I guess that's not as much pop.
Like, how is that? How is that team VVP, Dean?
Well, I mean, he's only somebody in chat was talking about the BVP of Maldonado, but yeah, he's also a big boy. So for him to get a double, you have to really smack the ball.
Chop's favorite BVP play today was Juan Soto. He said.
Juan Soto. What could his sample be? Versus Eric Lauer. Did you just ask him right now? Was he available, or you guys talked about this earlier today?
I got him on standby over here.
Yeah. Lauer, really vulnerable to righties, but you can get him from the left side as well. Of course, Soto doesn't care. 13 at bats, 5 hits, 3 singles, 2 homers. Here's how you know, and this Soto does this all the time. He controls the at bat, 5 walks, 1 strikeout. Right.
He just chimed in. He said the key that you need to tell them is that he just has 1 strikeout in those 13 at bats. But Juan Soto's not a big strikeout guy anyway.
The other part of it, though, and it's always that sort of push pull. It's like it's kissing your sister. Do you want to walk when you pay up for Juan Soto? Like, you'll take it, I guess. It's better than a pop out or a ground out or a strikeout, but you're not necessarily rostering Juan Soto. Like, let's get that walk. And he's super patient. He's willing to take it. The points add up, I suppose, and he can swipe a bag. It's in his arsenal. But I just want guys to hit homers, and he can do that too. But he's also Lauer might just dodge him. Lauer knows this. Lauer knows that Soto gets him every single time, or gets him enough, or maybe he shouldn't. He just pass. Give him first, then move to the next guy. By the way, speaking of the Padres, Machado is $3K on Fanduel. $3K. What up with that? Play him on Fanduel in your cash lineups. Tournaments, I assume he's going to be reasonably heavily owned over there. Third is generally loaded, but that's just an odd price, isn't it, for Machado and Fanduel? $3K? What is that?
I lost a big bet on them last night. They're so gutless, that team.
You lost a bet on the Padres? Oh, was it 4-3? Oh, they lost in extra innings, right?
They tied. I took them down 2 and live. And then it came back, tied it up, and then they fizzled.
So remember the guy that was saying that you're all buff and you're looking fantastic these days, and he swore that he was not trolling. I just noticed he commented again in chat and said, "I married my sister so I could kiss her." So okay, hold on a second. Now I feel like he may have actually been doubling down on the trolling, unless he married his sister. Which okay, cool, I guess. Hope everybody's having a good time. Hey, we're still here for 10, 15 minutes or so? No, 15 minutes, right? Until crunch time.
Shout out to Mr. Donk, who's been here all the days with me and remembers I started off strong with narratives season with Domingo Santana on Sunday. Was leading the league in home runs on Sundays in my I think that was one of my first years at RG, but he just asked if I remember that. So
that was just nonsense, though. Like, just because Domingo means Sunday, he didn't actually homer on Sunday more than other days.
So then I started using Domingo Germán as a pitcher on Sundays, and then that didn't work so well.
Is there any players named like Lunes or Martes or Miércoles? I don't know if there's. I'm getting the flashback to my days of memorizing the days for Spanish, but I don't think there is. If there is, you'll be on top of them as well. Just for whatever reason, you like that Domingo on Sundays. We're not rostering Domingo home around these days, right? I hope not. You lost a fair bit of money on
Domingo Santana, wherever he is.
They're asking about, let's see, who's apparently, according to FanDuel, they're saying Peralta starting for the Brewers. That's, unless I missed something, that's not true, right? Did we miss something? It's supposed to be Eric Lauer, isn't it? Last night, they wasn't Lauer kind of the guy yesterday for a bit, too? Milwaukee's starting pitcher has been kind of funky the last couple of days as far as predictability, but to my knowledge,
it was not. Who did you think?
But was it the early stuff, like before, like the night before? I think Lauer is supposedly going to be throwing yesterday, if that makes sense. Okay. But maybe that's what FanDuel. Maybe Peralta's pitching tomorrow. I'm not sure, but to my knowledge, Lauer is pitching and throwing baseballs tonight for Milwaukee. That's another team, by the way. All these teams that let us down yesterday: Toronto, St. Louis, San Diego, the Yankees. They all combined for like 6 runs. Minnesota scored more runs in the top of the first than like half the slate. Syndergaard on Thursdays. Why would that be? What is Thursday in Spanish? I don't get the reference. Thor.
Thor.
Oh, okay. Yeah. There it is. Okay, fair enough. I'm not, but I get it. I hear you.
It's a reach. That's a reach.
Yeah. It's also 2023, and that he can't be Thor anymore. He's got to be renamed. Maybe we need TJ for this, but does Thor ever like lose his powers, and he has to like resort to something else like Guile? I don't know if you can win with Guile against the supervillains, but yeah, he's lost whatever he once had.
Lauer is pitching every place that I've like checked 4 different places. They all say the same thing, and coincidentally, I don't make a habit of checking FanDuel, so.
As a general rule, the sites are usually a little bit behind when it comes to their updates.
Once in a blue moon, they'll have something and they'll get it right. Like once in a blue moon, like they were first. But
have you taken a peek at the Slate IQ today? Is that something you like to use as far as it's more for like when you're entering large tournaments, that kind of thing, trying to find some leverage and who's over-owned, who's under-owned as a stack collectively? Is this something that's in your arsenal? Is this something in your bag? They're talking about in chat. I look at
the top stacks page that we have, which is they run the Sims on. I don't know if that's the same data as the Slate IQ. I didn't read it today, but I do look at every day. I look at the top stacks and I looked at the opto percentage and the difference between ownership.
The most negative correlated lineup, let's see, we have as far as ownership and as far as chancing of actually being the stack to win it, is Pittsburgh, which is weird because I don't think people are playing Pittsburgh at all, right? But they're just given no chance. St. Louis is looking very negative, which is kind of surprising. Houston, not looking spectacular. Boston, not looking great. The most positive.
I look at the bat stuff too. So what I would do typically, so the first place I look is the top stacks tool. So that's on RG here. We have it here. It gives an opto percentage. Seattle has the second highest opto percentage behind the Mets, but the ownership, so they have about a 10.9% opto percentage, 5.8% ownership. So you're looking at the biggest difference there is over 5%. So that would be a sign to boom go. Then I look at the bat stuff, and I look at what he has for team totals versus Vegas team totals, and I try to two reasons I'll look at this. One, I want to see who does the Cardi value or the bat value more than Vegas, because Vegas, most of the ownership is going to flow Vegas's way. But then I also like to see if that's what the bat is going to give us from projection wise too. But I'll take a look today. And I don't know if you have do you subscribe to Cardi's EV Analytics?
I'm aware of it. I probably should.
But
should. I know it's basically they kind of work hand in hand, and I think it's good for sports gambling, if I'm not mistaken, right?
It is. It's also good. It's also good for just looking at like teams. You can look. I'm sure you can get it just from the bat, but just the way everything's presented, I can go there and look very quickly. So I can look at like his highest team totals are going to be he has the Angels. Wow, he has the Angels the highest team total on the slate, and then
I think the Angels are pretty interesting.
And then that also has the highest difference between Vegas's team total. I love the Angels. Personally, I think the Red Sox games are just, but the problem is that this Red Sox lineup has become watered down now without Duvall, without Yoshi. But like I've been saying, like it just feels like Red Sox games are like must stack, like both sides. Because this
weather's not great there today. We mentioned that already. Let's give it a refresh as far as weather edge. I want to see if there's anything different in the forecast. Yeah, so actually it's changed for the worse. This doesn't mean you can't play it, obviously, but gotta take the scenic route with this one. 80 games, Kirkwood, 80 games. We have a downgrade of 33.9% in homers. That's a big number for 80 games, right? But the run's not as big a hit, 9.7%, but home runs subdued.
But then you add in this new Red Sox bullpen.
Yeah. Again, I'm not trying to chase anybody away from it. I'm just. This is the data. Do with it what you will, but it doesn't look like the best environment. Kind of the winds coming in from right field at 10 miles per hour.
Cardi begs to differ.
Okay. Well, we'll see what maybe this weather update
Cardi versus
is pretty,
Roth. We could have a little battle.
It's science versus math. Sort of. Is that they kind of intertwine, right? But that's what it is, right? I feel like that's what it is. I know we have Cheese versus Cardi sometimes. It's always a lot of fun. But yeah, we have Roth versus Cardi today. He'll be on in like 10 minutes or so. I mean, we can ask we can tell Roth, when Roth will talk about the weather edge, I'm sure. Something you get, of course, if you're part of RG Premium. I did mention this earlier. We get more people sprinkling in. I'll drop the link one more time. I want people to participate. I want people to play. I want people to win 2 weeks free of RG Premium. And how do you do that? Just tell me the player who gets the most fantasy points tonight on DK. That's it. Tell me that person. Where do you put that answer? Don't just write it in chat. That's worthless. But put it in my tweet that I'm going to drop in chat in a second as I get over there. I'm buying time. I'm saying words.
Frenchy Friday. I was maybe laugh. Frenchy Friday. So Frenchy.
He's been hot. He's been hot.
The Red Sox get rid of him. The Red Sox get rid of him. The Orioles, because he smashed at AAA in Worcester. All anytime he was down there, it was just homer after home run. Anytime they would bring him up, he couldn't even make contact. So they dump him. The Orioles, you'd think he could have made the Orioles roster, but nope, they went with Ryan O'Hearn. They signed Ryan O'Hearn. They get rid of him and sign Ryan O'Hearn. And then he ends up in Yankee Stadium and he's hitting bombs.
Ryan O'Hearn's an Oriole this year? Did I miss that?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. Has he been playing regularly? I feel like I haven't seen him.
He played yesterday. He just got signed and called up.
There's something else I wanted to mention. By the way, the White Sox, who we haven't mentioned once, are the top leverage play for what it's worth, just because they're not getting any ownership, and supposedly they have a 4% chance. A 4% chance of winning this slate, right? And the ownership is 31.49% collectively. I see Winky in chat earlier. Shout out to your White Sox, although he was saying he likes the Mariners. You're talking like head versus heart, and you're okay stacking against your Boston team if you feel like the Angels are the best team, right? That's not going to stop you.
I just said I love the Angels tonight.
Yeah.
That's usually you like teams more against. You just know your team when they're bad. You know when they're going to get shoved.
Also, hit that like button. Do subscribe. Do turn on those notifications. Do all the things that helps us with the old the algorithm. We got to beat that YouTube algorithm up for sure. Got to keep this show free. Got to keep Crunch Time sponsored by Fanduel. In about 7 minutes or so, you got Kevin Roth. You have Andre. You have Dave Potts. Cheeseisgood. Collectively, 3 times winning $1 million in DFS. Henry wants to know if we like the Twins. No. I mean, they're not my first 12 teams. Can you play them? Sure. Because this truly is a blender slate, right? This is a blender. Play anybody you want. I feel like it is.
Nestor's their one reliable pitcher.
Well,
and
not Garrett Cole.
As of yesterday, this lineup stunk, right? Like we all said, this lineup stinks, and then they break the slate in 1 inning, in great weather, and Nestor's their one reliable. Like the Yankees are bouncing back today.
Yeah. Taking a peek at this Minnesota lineup. Buxton leading off. Correa, Solano.
I would bet the Yankees run line here.
What's the line? -1.5 we're talking about?
It's always -1.5. But
you can get it like alt lines like 2.5, but yeah, the standard is 1.5.
Yeah.
That's a dangerous one. It's always dangerous when you have the home team too, because you gotta do that. You gotta do it early. Or if you're in extra innings, you need a walk-off dinger for somebody on.
Gotta live a little dangerously in the gambling streets.
Cubs lineup is out, by the way, in case we missed it. We have several lineups that dropped. Horner, Swanson, Happ, Suzuki, Bellinger, First Blood Revenge Game. Wisdom, yeah, that helps their lineup for sure. Hosmer, Rios, and Yan Gomes. We have the Dodgers lineup also came out on the other side.
Yeah.
Betts, Freeman, J. Martinez, Muncy.
Obviously, Cole is reliable.
Yeah. I figured you know that. You just missed them. It's all right. No Will Smith in that Dodgers lineup, by the way. It's Austin Barnes. Interesting, because Barnes usually is the personal caddy for Kershaw. Okay, but Barnes is in there, right? Unless I'm missing something. Yeah, Muncy, Thompson, Vargas, Rojas, Taylor, Barnes. No Outman as well, but Outman
Wait,
may come in.
Mancini's in there?
Mancini is not in the Cubs lineup. No.
Okay.
No Mancini.
It's too bad. But I like this lineup, and I like this stack.
San Diego's lineup dropped as well. Bogarts, Machado, Soto, Cruz, Kim, Campisano, Dixon, Grisham, and Azukar. Give the people some homers. Do you have a gimmick? You want to concoct a gimmick? What do you have?
Beans, dongs, and D's is nuts.
Are you D's?
Kirk D's.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right, we got to get producer Steve to work on something. I want to see what that graphic looks like. Some D's squirrels, I'm sure, will be involved in some way. Yeah. But
it's right there.
Do you want to be? Wait, hold on. You have your own. When did this happen? Did I miss this? Or he just made this up on the fly? It's just available.
No,
you can find
he
that.
He had this last show we did.
Why doesn't it say your name anywhere? It just says D's Dongs.
Yeah, that's D's is for Kirk D's.
But I want your picture there. Where's you with a mustache? I like it, but I'm just saying. I feel like you should be represented in some way. Unless you're the squirrel.
I don't need my face everywhere like some people. It's okay.
Like some people, yes, I demand it for sure. People want to see this big mug. Yeah, give me be as ambitious as you want to be. As far as
I'm just gonna tell you, I'm just gonna open up my bets, and I'm gonna tell you who I bet on to homer tonight.
I thought you were gonna say you're gonna open up the bat and give it the top 2 or top 3. That's what Blender likes to do, basically a cheat code, and that's not ambitious at all. I want you to be ambitious. What do you have as far as homers?
All right, you want my? All right, I'll start from the non-ambitious one. And it's J-Rod, Julio Rodriguez.
What did you get for him? Like 3-1, 3.5-1? What did you get as far as the odds?
4-1.
It's pretty good. Pretty good.
I also bet Jose Ramirez.
All right. He hasn't homered this year, right?
No, he has not. So he's.
What were the odds on J-Ram?
Well, we like to say he's due. Chop broke this down last time. A little regression to the mean, Dean.
Yeah.
And
it didn't play out, by the way. His whole point was that the Rays are going to lose because they're due to lose, and they smashed that night because they smash every night. But continue.
Hold on, I'm pulling in DK now. I have a 2-factor authorization to get in, so I got to do that because of all the.
Mark and Chapo is asking about who's pitching in Milwaukee. Like, what is going on? Why is it not known it's Lauer?
Fanduel.
Unless I missed something.
Unless they could have scratched him, but
I don't see it anywhere. Yeah, the lineup just dropped, and it's Yelich, Adames, Contreras, Tellez, Anderson, Voit, Rousseau, Miller, and Weimer, and Lauer is pitching. So, yeah.
All right.
I don't know what Fanduel's doing.
I bet Nico Horner stolen base. I bet Cody Bellinger stolen base. I bet Shohei Ohtani home run. I bet Jose Ramirez home run. I bet J-Rod home run.
What was the line in Ohtani? 4-1?
Almost. I got a bad line when I got it. It was down to 370.
Okay.
I bet Mike.
You got a
Trout,
line shot, Kirkwood.
I do, but I got Mike Trout to home run.
4-1.
So I figure 3-1. I figure one of Trout or Ohtani is definitely going deep.
What's Renfro? I like Renfro.
Yeah, maybe a little revenge dong. And then my ambitious one,
yes,
is Manny Margot at 10-1.
That's a pretty big number. Batting 7th today versus Barrios. I'm curious what Cardi has to say about this as far as a new ballpark in Toronto. Maybe need a bigger sample, but they manipulated the wall a little bit. They moved some stuff around. I don't think anything that was too drastic. But I'm curious what the takeaway is as far as this ballpark getting a little bit more hitter friendly or not. And Barrios he's been not great so far this year. So he was bad last year too. Kind of a neutral pitcher as far as his splits, lefties versus righties. He's kind of meh versus both of them. By the way, why not just play the Rays to smash again? I know Arozarena is 6K and Wander Franco is 5.9. Raleigh is no longer 2K, but Brandon Lau is no longer the cheap price, but he's 4-1, I think, in Fanduel. 4-3 in DK is really good. I feel like we neglected the Rays. Just keep playing the Rays.
I mean, it's only because of the price, but Berrios has been atrocious as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, and there's something going on with some of these Toronto guys. I don't know. Yeah, the Rays, you got to deal with pinch hit risk too, and high pricing. But obviously, they could put up a bunch of runs.
How do you feel about the leprechaun, Justin Turner on DK? Rob's talking about him.
Yeah, why not? I mean, yeah, you give. I don't think he hasn't homered yet, right?
I'm not sure, but yeah.
I feel he's starting to swing at the bat. He's starting to make some good contact. Better Statcast numbers. He was so bad. I mean, it's so early, but yeah, give him against a lefty in Fenway. Yes.
Question in chat. We didn't mention Steele. I think he could play Steele, right? I don't necessarily want to pick on the Dodgers, but on this slate, I'm open to it. If I land on it, so be it. But that's kind of how I feel about a lot of the pitchers pitching today. Any interest in Justin Steele versus the Dodgers?
Mildly, only because the slate is just so wide open. He's got some strikeout stuff, but it's a pretty big risk, I guess.
Rojas back in the lineup. He's a big contact guy. I know he left the other day, but that's you don't necessarily want to face him. Betts, of course, huge stick and doesn't strike out much at all. He'll walk a good bit. This team is very patient. Bat?
What? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think you swing with when you're at the plate there?
I don't know. I heard something different, something weird. It's just a
stick is what I said.
My fault. My fault.
I don't know. Is the crunch time?
You're not wrong. Visible? Yeah, well, they brought us in right at that moment when he was talking about that, and I think we were all like, "I'm sorry though, what show are we on?"
Huge stick.
Naked HD is back. Yeah.
I'm sick, so maybe some words are coming out a little differently. Speaking of that, Roth, I hope you're feeling better. Is there anything, the people want to know, any highlights, anything you can say about last night, anything that's worth adding, or you just want to power through and talk about tonight?
Nah, your boy couldn't do it, man. Couldn't get the job done. I was sick. It did not feel good. So I let the fam down and let the team down. I'm coming back tonight feeling a little better. I'm ready to go.
All right, there you go. Friday night, good to go. Roth, weather-wise, what are we looking at? We actually had a conversation as far as the weather in Boston. Looks like Weather Edge is not loving it, but also at the same time, Cardi seems to like the Angels' offense. And I'm pretty sure that the bat, factors in weather, so it's going to somehow overcome it. What are you seeing as far as the weather in Boston from a hitting perspective?
I would be interested to see what the bat has the temperature at, because there's this really weird model divergence that's happening in Boston. The temperature drops 20 degrees in an hour. So a lot of people have been like, what are you talking about? It's 75 degrees. It is, but an hour later, it's 55 degrees. So most of the game, it should be in the 50s. So I am intrigued. Maybe the bat has it, is one of the models that has it warmer. I don't know.
Kevin,
that's exactly what I said. I was like, I went for a walk today and it was 80 degrees out. And then I came back in and I saw Roth say that the weather in Boston was going to be cold. So I did a double take and he's right. And then it's dropping down to in the 50s or whatever.
Hey, there we go.
You missed a glorious conversation in the bat Discord. People talking about whether or not the bat factors in weather in dome stadiums with the roof closed. And then people trying to decide if weather exists inside. And someone's like, well, there's a temperature. And but there's no weather. And I'm like, I don't know, Kevin, I want officially is there weather around me right now? Am I touching weather? I'm inside. Is there weather? Am I touching the weather?
I don't think that's weather. No, I think you have to be outside for it to count as weather. Yeah.
I don't know. It's a fantastic conversation,
yeah.
though.
No, it's a good question.
Kirk, when you got anything else for the boys, or are we stepping out and, Fanduel crunch time? Let's do it.
Again, I just want to say a heartfelt apology for the political comment I made. It was meant to be a joke.
No, there's no joking allowed. This is the internet, Kirkwood. Going forward, you'll be reprimanded, I'm sure. But
I'm sure I'm going to have a bunch of tweets.
I think it's going to be okay. I hope it's going to be okay. Myself and Kirkwood, we're going to see ourselves out. The FanDuel sponsor crunch time. You got the Millionaire Club. You have Andre. You have Dave Potts. Collectively, 3 individual millionaire victories. You have Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth. Roth, take it away.
The Millionaire Club plus me. Yes, welcome to it. Good stuff as always, guys. Welcome to it. It is crunch time. I don't know that if ever in RotoGrinders history a show has ended on an apology. I guess that's got to be a first, right?
We've probably needed a lot, but at least we finally got one done.
That's so well said. Yes. Yeah, it has probably been deserved many times, but the only time it's actually happened. Welcome to it, guys. This is Crunch Time. It is a show sponsored by FanDuel. It is a show where it's free because of FanDuel, and all we ask is that you hit that little thumbs up there on the YouTube. And it is the show where we are joined by two of the sharpest minds in the biz. One, the GOAT, the baseball legend, the fantasy baseball Hall of Famer. I don't think I made that up. Cheese is good. What's up, Cheese?
Not too much. Super weird slate tonight. Ton of games and a super bunch of nothing. It's weird, but hey, we got Andre. It's first time, first show of the year with Andre, so it should be good. I think that's a good sign.
We got Dre as well. What's happening, Dre? How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Getting fresh off from work. Trying to dissect the slate more and dig deep into it now. But yeah, I'm here to give some people some good plays to hopefully come in second tonight.
That's the goal. To be clear, it is for them to come in second and you to come in first, correct?
Exactly. That's always the goal. Always.
That's fair. That is a fair goal. Speaking of coming in first or second, or perhaps Cheese third, I do believe you had a pretty good night the other day.
Pretty good night the other day. Yeah.
It
was
pretty good day the other night. It's been a long day's night.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Good job. You were just, the most bashful of all winners. It wouldn't surprise me if you were unaware that you came third. You took down like 20 grand in a tournament the other night. I don't know if you knew that, but you did.
Somebody told me.
Somebody.
That's usually how that works. Somebody messaged me, "Hey, congrats on that line." I'm asleep at that time. I don't think people realize that I do need to go to bed. But thank you. Always feel free to let me know.
Yeah, I will. I'll save it for like 10 figures. 10 figures? 10 figures. I'll definitely let you know. Yeah, five figures or more. I'll let you know. Okay. Hey, excellent, guys. We cannot rest on our laurels or dilly-dally or mess that says start talking. Let's talk about the slate a little bit, guys. Let's dive into it. And Cheese, if you don't mind, let's give an overview as if you were friends with the weatherman who had no idea what was happening other than the weather. Yeah. Just hypothetically speaking.
Yeah. Well, I can give you that rundown. There are no good, safe, or upside pitchers. All the pitching is bad is not quite the word. None of the pitching is good. And yet none of the pitching is so bad or with great hitting conditions such that none of the hitting is great. It's a very strange mix of, there's a ton of expensive bats to kind of like. But even with cheap pitching, it's not easy to just jam them all in. And on the DK side, the slate got flipped quite a bit with a 4K pitcher coming into play a couple hours ago after a scratch. But basically, we're looking at chalky Kodai Senga in his third start of his career after walking 6 guys in his first 2 starts, and that's your chalk. And your best pitcher is the guy we don't even really know if he's better than an average major league pitcher yet. He probably is, but we don't know. It's a weird slate.
Wow. Okay. Very good. That was a good. There we go. There's Kodai Senga. We had the GIF queued up, ready to go. This comment from Frederick sounds appropriate. We have a wealth of mediocrity in pitching tonight. That sounds about right.
That's absolutely correct. It's not that it's terrible. It's just that we're used to paying, $9,700 for Jacob deGrom, and all of a sudden we're supposed to pay, $10,000 for Drew Rasmussen against Toronto, or it's just weird stuff.
Yeah.
Or 11,000 on FanDuel even.
Yeah. All right. Good to know. A couple weather notes that I should add here. The first of which is that there's a low chance of a delay in Cincinnati. It's low enough that you just play pitchers. Do we want pitchers there, Cheese?
That's actually the early game. That's not even on the slate. So no.
And never mind.
Those first 3 games are not on the main slate.
You think I know which ones are? I guess. Okay. All right. Noted. Okay. The other thing that we should talk about is Washington, where a late start, even at this point, really wouldn't shock me. There's just this cluster of showers moving over right now. It's going to be gone in an hour. But it wouldn't shock me if just to start the game dry, they're like, let's just do a late start. I don't think they should. I think they should just play baseball in light rain because who cares? But either way, no matter what they say or do, unless they just do stupid Washington things, the game's going to be fine. So don't freak out if you see a late start. And I actually do think the hitting conditions in Washington are decent, though we don't have anything, amazing hitting wise like we have in days past. With that out of the way, let's kind of dive into this slate a little bit. And Cheese, if you don't mind, you gave us an overview of the pitchers. Let's dive in. Let's get into it.
All right. So let me do the sites separately because they're just different enough because of the pricing. Mm-hmm. The FanDuel hitter pricing is really soft. Like there's a handful of expensive guys, but there's a ton of like basically superstar $3,000 bats. So Cody Senga is going to be the chalk on FanDuel. And I would say he's the best play. Like if I can just play one guy, I'm going to play Senga. I think the next pivot and the next closest to chalk is Nestor Cortez. Both those guys are over 10K. I don't think Drew Rasmussen is really that viable on FanDuel at 11-2. It's just, I don't know. It's just not necessary.
I don't mean to interject, but sure. You weren't kidding when you were like, we've been paying like $10,000 to $11,000 for like DeGrom, and now we're paying $10,000 to $11,000 for Cody Senga and Nestor Cortez. Like you weren't joking. Yeah. That's actually happening.
It's just really strange.
Yeah. It doesn't seem quite right. Yeah.
So those are your two spend ups, and they're good, but these are not elite aces that we usually spend that money for. But again, salary is probably not an issue. So I'm just good just playing Senga on FanDuel. When you start moving down, like Louis Garcia is fine. Charlie Morton is fine. These guys are all kind of maybe if someone's going to get some kind of a ceiling game, it's probably Morton, but I don't think so. I officially don't like any of them. I also have Brady Singer in my pool there, but you really don't need to try to go super cheap on FanDuel because the hitting is just not that expensive. If you absolutely need a super cheap pitcher, play Cal Quantrill for $6,900.
Okay.
And then you can play everything.
Is it one of those, like, I don't want to spend up for a pitcher here. There's really like no reason to go down.
It's just that when you start building an offensive lineup on FanDuel, like you just have all the money in the world because they're the bats that cost $3,000 are incredible.
Okay. All right. That's fair. All right. Well, then let's talk DK and then we'll get over to Trey.
So DK is different because we now have Tom Malone for $4,000. The bat has Tom and Malone as I think like the 6th best raw points pitcher. I think the RG projection had him like 8 or 9. Just right in the mix of all the guys that cost $8,000. So I'm playing Tommy Malone. Like this is the perfect slate to just say, hey, if I get 8 points from a $4,000 pitcher, otherwise I'm getting 13 points for $8,000. Like, just give me Malone with Senga or Cortez in most lineups. There's a whole huge mid tier that is completely playable. Garcia, Waka, Morton, Singer. You can add more name. Like you could play Barrios if you want. You could play Perez or Houck or Sandoval. Like you can play almost anyone on the slate and it's not crazy. But personally, it's all so close that I'm either Tyler Wells is the other cheap guy I was playing more of before we got Malone. But basically Senga and or Cortez, a little bit of Garcia, Morton, Singer, and then cheap.
Would you say Malone is like your SP1? Like you have more of him?
He's far and away my highest owned pitcher now. And if he had been starting earlier in the day, he'd be even higher than he is now.
Okay. Does that ever happen where like your SP1? Yeah, I feel like
and it's not that and he's fine as a pitcher. He's not like complete garbage. But it's just a slate. Like if he gives you 0 points for 4K, it's probably as good as what you're getting for $8,000.
Right. Okay. Interesting stuff, man. This is a fun slate. Like this is
this is
kind of a cool slate, honestly. All right. Let's kick it over to Dre and let's get your thoughts. If you want to start FanDuel, you can, or just dive into pitching in general for me, Dre.
Yeah, I'm just diving into pitching in general because I'm mostly playing on I'm playing on DraftKings tonight. But it's a headache. It is just a pure headache trying to figure out who do I want to go with. Like, do I want to go and spend all the way up for Senga? Or do I want to just maybe stick in the mid tier, or maybe just go for 2 cheap pitchers and just hope that they get maybe 15 each? And
I could be fine on my merry way and load up on bats. So those are the strategies I'm thinking about going with tonight. So I like guys obviously the mid tier, like you mentioned, like Waka. Don't mind him. Morton, I don't mind at all. Rasmussen is 10K on DK. I like that, but it's just a matchup against Toronto. Kind of scares me a little bit, but he should still be fine. But Malone against Colorado, I think you have to obviously have a lot of them at 4K on DK. It's just too cheap to avoid. I kind of want to get your take on Cheese on Jake Woodford. Like I'm really interested in him, more so because the middle of that lineup for Pittsburgh is just from like 4 down just strikes out really heavy. Has a high strikeout rate.
He's another guy that, like, before we had Malone, it was like, yeah, maybe we just throw him in because it's Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
But now, like, if Tom Malone is chalk, then you kind of almost want to find some reason to pivot. I don't think Woodford is good. I think he's a bad DFS pitcher. Like probably will end up being one of the lowest strikeout pitchers in the league. But he's also like he doesn't walk guys. It's great. Gets a little bit of ground balls. So I think if your goal is to pivot off of Malone,
you wouldn't combine them together though.
So see, I like Tyler Wells enough better than Woodford, and like Wells and Malone gives me plenty of everything. But I wouldn't really. It's not like Wells is necessarily any better than Woodford. I wouldn't argue with you at all if you preferred Woodford.
Okay, now I just wanted to get your take on it because that's why that was my dilemma with that lower end range, because I like those. Like you said, Woodford gets more so ground balls and not a lot of fly balls. So, but doesn't strike anybody out really either. So that's my dilemma. But if they're about the same upside, I might just take Woodford just because of those savings on the price as a pivot. Maybe if you're running 150, maybe you can pair them and a few of them together. But and load up on bats if you want to do that, and maybe get like 2 stacks of high owned stacks. If they go off, the team wise, because you get pretty much the top of every single lineup, and that combo might be really low owned and something that no one probably going to think about doing a lot of, especially on a big slate like today. So that's where I'm pretty much at. Like loading up on those guys. Like my player pool right now has Wells, Woodford, Rasmussen, Morton, Malone, Waka, Garcia, Senga, and Cortez. I don't really want any more. I thought about Barrios for a brief second, but then I realized I'm like, it's Tampa, and Tampa's just been playing too well right now. Yeah. So I'm not going to risk that at all.
The weatherman knows whether or not you should play Barrios against Tampa. Should you?
Don't. Yeah, you do not dare. They are going to hit 5 bombs again tonight, so don't do it. Okay, let's go position by position. And what do we got?
Everybody watch the screen. I don't know what's happening. I'm a fan.
Who is that?
That's you. I think that it looks like you're.
Like you're a cross-arm delivery.
I think it's Conor McGregor.
I thought it might
be that guy that fights.
Yeah, and it was clearly intentional, right? There's no way he was trying to get that to home. Like that was. He was just trying to go viral. I cannot confirm or deny. I would like it noted. I once threw out a ceremonial first pitch, and I got that bad boy right across the plate with the heat. It was actually like I thought at the time I really threw the heater, and then I went back and saw the replay of it, and it was really a lollipop that was kind of embarrassing. But I got it there. I got it there either way. Hey, we got to go position by position here. So Dre,
let me say one note on pitching, because someone brought it up a couple times in YouTube. Tom Malone is not on FanDuel. You can't play him on FanDuel. This is a DK thing.
Yeah, accurate. Okay, let's start things off here, going position by position. And Dre, if you don't mind, let's talk about catcher. I believe there's a player called Rutch Dog, and all he does is hit bombs, and he's my favorite player in baseball other than Ohtani. But tell me what you like.
I like him. I like him a lot tonight, especially on the side like on DK. I mean on DK too. So he's someone I'm going to be using quite a bit in my stacks today. I also do I know like probably people are going to probably try to go against Morton a little bit. So I like going to give him a guy like MJ Melendez or Salvador Perez here as well. And also just let you guys know, most of these catcher plays are going to be in my stacks. I'm not going to go with anyone that's catcher outside of a stack, especially on DraftKings, and definitely on FanDuel for sure. You want to do that as well. But I don't even mind taking some shots against Wells and going with a guy like Yasmini Grandal. I think that's an option you can go with too here today as well. Obviously, Sean Murphy against Singer is another guy. If you want to ride Minnesota and think that they can have another big game today, then I'm going against Cortez, because it does happen sometimes. Then you can take some shots and go with I think it was his Jeffers, I believe, isn't yeah, Jeffers. So Nino is someone else I really, really like getting to. Connor Wong on with my Boston stacks I do like a lot too as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, and Bethencourt. Sorry, don't want to forget about anybody from the Rays that I like.
Yeah. Okay. So essentially, play the dude in your stack.
Yes.
That's all right. Cheese, let's talk catcher. Of course, you got your spend ups that are decent plays. And then Nate says I need a cheap option as well. So is there like a one-off cheapie?
So real quick, I'm sorry, there's actually one more pitching note because it got brought up again.
Please.
For some reason, FanDuel has had Freddie Peralta listed as the starter all day. Eric Lauer is pitching for Milwaukee. Don't play Peralta. I don't know why they have him listed there. I think they'll probably change it unless something changes. Don't play Peralta. Okay. Catcher.
Good. No, that's a good note.
Especially with Will Smith not being in the lineup, like Rutschman is clear chalk because you have money to spend on DK. And like Dre mentioned, you do not need a catcher outside of a stack on FanDuel. I think that the very obvious cheap guy, if you were like playing a cash lineup and needed something cheap, is Ryan Jeffers. I agree that the Royals guys are fine one-offs with like Wilson Contreras or Sean Murphy, but essentially Rutschman or in your stack, and that's just all there is.
Okay. I'm sorry. Did you tell me a cheap one? I was
Ryan
waiting.
Jeffers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Take me to first base, Cheese.
All right. So there's quite a few big pricing differences between the slate, so I'll try to point them out where they are, but I might miss some. So at first base, Ohtani is a DK first baseman, which changes the position, and also Rowdy Tellez is crazy cheap on DK, which kind of changes things. On both sites, if you're kind of spending up, I like Goldschmidt, Alonso, and then Olsen in that order, and then a little drop to Rizzo and Mountcastle. Vinny P would be another cheap guy if you need more cheap guys. And then on the FanDuel side, if you need a cheap guy, you could do Josh Naylor as well.
Okay. Dre, first, any other thoughts?
Sorry, I just had my mic muted.
You're good.
I like pretty much everyone that Cheese mentioned, obviously. I do want to add Nathan Lowe. I think Nathan Lowe, if you want to run like a little Texas mini stack as a secondary, I think he's someone that you can include in that going against Garcia here. Don't have to necessarily pick on him, but you can do that. Justin Turner is someone else that I do have a little bit interested in going against Sandoval here too as well. Obviously, Rowdy Tellez being just 3K, it's just too cheap on the slate. So he's someone that I would try to get some exposure to for sure at first baseman. As far as first base, and obviously Shohei, you want to go with Matt Olson, Mountcastle, the guys that are up top that expensive that are going to be in your stacks. And Anthony Rizzo, I think, is another excellent option tonight to go with for sure. And I don't want to also forget about Pete Alonso.
Okay, very good. Take me to second base.
Second base. All right, so obviously Mookie Betts is someone that you can get with. Brandon Lau as well with Tampa Bay. Then I'm going to go down a little bit to a guy that I like here, obviously, that I like in Houston going against Perez a little bit. If I want to run these are some guys I'm talking about in like secondary stacks. So like Marcio Dubon is someone I'm going to use in this with the Houston mini stack. If I decide to play them a little bit tonight.
It's the first time I've ever heard Andre speak French. Say that again.
Dubon.
You nailed it. 10 out of 10.
I've been trying to practice it a little bit, so make sure.
Well done.
So, but he's someone I would definitely use a part of my Houston stacks. I'm just trying to get low. Pretty much like when it comes to my secondary stacks, I want to get low owned 3-mans to low owned 4-mans. To go with my 5 to go with my other guys in here that can pretty much either hit a home run and get on base and put up a lot of runs. So those guys I like a lot. I don't mind Christian Arroyo here as well. And I also don't. I'm gonna give you guys one more at the bottom. Let me see. Let me sort by its salary. Sorry, on DraftKings. I really wasn't gonna say Michael Massey, but we'll go with Michael Massey.
Hey, there you go. Cheese, any names that you want to add there? Michael Massey?
Michael Massey and Sam Haggerty on DK are the cheap guys I like. I just want to point out that the salary difference, like FanDuel adjusts quicker.
Yeah.
For current play. So Brandon Lau is priced way up. Like he's considerably the highest priced second baseman, whereas DK has him down just kind of in a big mix of guys. So I like him. I still like him on FanDuel because you can get him, but he's more of a value on DK. I think Nico Horner is a good-ish play. I like Andres Jimenez. I like all the Cleveland bats. But pretty much Dre mentioned the guys.
Okay, then take me to third.
Okay, so it's loaded as always, but there's three guys that I just love more than I love everyone else, even though I love all of them. That would be Jose Ramirez, Manny Machado, and Eugenio Suarez. But that's not to say that I don't absolutely love Bregman, Riley, Arenado. The guys like Bobby Witt on FanDuel and Gunnar Henderson on DK, I like them better at shortstop, but it does make third base stronger if you want. But this is the one spot I really don't want to punt because of how much I love those 3/6 players up top.
That's it. Okay, easy enough. All right, Dre, any other names you want to add to that list?
Hold on. Sorry, I was trying to adjust my stacks
here.
They mentioned Bregman because I don't think the Chiefs mentioned Bregman, but if he didn't, I love Bregman today. I think he's an excellent choice here. Muncie, lefty can steal. I don't think that's a bad option to go with. I don't mind even Patrick Wisdom. It's a one-off here in this spot as well. And pretty much everyone else that he mentioned is fine with me.
Okay, very good. Then take me to shortstop, Dre.
Okay, so sorry, I'm clicking on it. There we go. All right, and in shortstop, obviously Bobby Witt is going to be probably one of the top popular options here today. But I want to go with a guy like Francisco Lindor. I think that he's another good option that's going to be popular. We should be played a lot too, as well. I like Bogarts here in the party San Diego. Sacks going against Lauer here. I think that that's another good option. And if you also want to go back to, like I said, go back to Minnesota, Carlos Correa, I don't mind it at all. I don't actually mind the minute. I'm kind of on the fence. So I really want to have Minnesota stack or not, but I don't mind them still because they can still go off here in the spot. So I probably would play them a little bit. At least have one lineup with them in there going against Cortez because Cortez can get blown up at times. And I also like Kiki Hernandez here in this spot.
Okay, very good. Jeez.
Yep. So Witt and Lindor are the standouts. All the other expensive guys are totally fine plays. I like Willie Adames out of them, and then Gunnar Henderson is a little bit cheaper. That's kind of it. That's kind of it.
Okay. All right, that's fine. Take me to the outfield then.
So on DK, this is why I'm playing so much Tom Malone and why you might play Woodford or Wells or stuff, because you got Ohtani, Judge, Trout, Julio Rodriguez, Cedric Mullins, Acuna, Alvarez, Tasker, Hernandez. It's all so fantastic. And like the mid-tier stuff is just kind of okay. But then there's good cheaper stuff like Cody Bellinger, for example, like AJ Pollock, and then like the dirt cheap kind of dart throw power guys like the Braves, like Rosario and Hilliard type plays. But I really want to spend up at a couple outfield spots. And then on the FanDuel side, that one little group of like Trout, Judge, Rodriguez are up around 4K, Acuna. But then there's like Cedric Mullins is 34. Teoscar's only 2,900. Buxton's only 3,500.
Shohei 38.
So like you can get these essentially superstars that are 35 instead of 4,500 without and still be able to play Senga. So I'm living more in that 3K to 3,500 range on FanDuel, whereas on DK I'd rather just spend up to 2 of those super expensive guys and punt the other pitcher spot.
Very good note. Okay, excellent. Dre, any names you want to add in there in the old outfield position?
So many outfielder guys here today.
Name the one good play, if you will.
The one, yeah. Just give us the one play, just the one that is going to do well.
Jesus Christ.
Don't actually go through your list.
Yeah, because I could go through a whole lot, but I'm just gonna give one guy who I really like. So I want to get some questions here, and I want to try to get a couple builds running here as well for myself as well. So the one guy that I really, really, really am high on, that I'm gonna try to have regardless, in every single one of my lineups. Guy that I really like a lot today is Manny Machado. I think. Oh, sorry, wrong person. Outfield. I had refreshed my page. Sorry.
You're good.
The one guy that I really do like a lot here today, it is actually for where is he? Goodness, he's for San Diego too. Where is? Let me go to him. I know. There you go, lefty. Even though it's lefty, I think I like Juan Soto a good amount here against Lauer. I think San Diego might be one of my favorite sneaky stacks here that I might try to get a little bit of leverage on with everyone. And play a lot of them. So I'm going to roll with them, probably maybe more heavier than I probably should tonight, but we'll see how that turns out.
Got to take a stand. All right, that works. Hey, we have about 17. Who knows, because baseball start times are jacked up, but we've got plenty of time until lock. So we're going to dive into some of these QQs. Before we get there, do we want to do home run picks? I feel like Cheese thinks home run picks are a little silly, and I think it's right.
I do.
In that. Yeah,
but, I mean, whatever people want. I mean,
they want them, man. People love the home run picks, even though it's kind of a silly thing.
You play bets on them, and you can win money with it. So why not?
I suppose.
Cheese. I mean, there's so many home. Like, how many home runs do you want? Like Judge, Trout, Ohtani, Machado,
you can't
Suarez,
do that. You can't do that.
Like that's why it's silly. Like
I know
all of those guys and more are like really likely, not real. No one's ever really likely to hit a home run, but like just incredible home run calls. Okay, sure. I'll give you one. We'll say Mike Trout.
Okay, that's fair. I will allow that. See, Nate, this was even before we had the conversation. Nate in the YouTube chat said, "Any home run picks?" The people want to know the home run picks. And Peter says, "Who's going to hit a triple?"
Now that is something we should do, because that is really hard to pick. Yeah. And there's not going to be 40 of them. There might be 2.
That's more fun. We will find that out.
With a home run pick, you're asking for, like, there's going to be 40 home runs tonight. So I mean, I just pick any of them.
Yeah, that's true.
I like, for what it's worth, I like Rizzo to go to another home run tonight again, and I do like Olsen as well.
Okay. Neil says, when people stop wanting home run picks, I'll start worrying that the edge is gone. That's funny.
That is actually an excellent point. Yes.
It's rude, but it's funny. Cam the Man says, Roth, come over. We're barbecuing burgers. I think technically you don't barbecue burgers, but I'm still coming over.
And by the way, so the triple, Starling Marte triple.
There you go. There's your triple call. I like it. Also, Hammer's upset that you didn't pick someone off the beaten path for your home run pick.
Who, me?
No, Cheese. Because he went with Trout.
Yeah, me too. I'm also upset about
it. I'm going to allow it. I think that's fine.
Kiki Hernandez will hit one as well.
There you go. There's an off the board, a little Kiki Hernandez call. We're going to dive into some of these QQs. That was a good way to kill 3 minutes, and now we will do like 15.
By the way, the sneaky one is AJ Pollock, if you need
AJ Pollock. There you go. All right, let's get to it. FanDuel cash question, Cheese. Do you prefer Suarez to Witt? PS for all cash questions, Cheese. I'm coming to you.
I mean, straight up in cash, I prefer Witt, but I can't imagine not playing Witt at shortstop and also playing Suarez. Like, I think it's a 2 third base day with Suarez, Machado, and Witt at shortstop, or Machado, Ramirez. But if it's really a 1v1, I would say Witt in cash.
Okay. We do have a few people that maybe joined late. We started our shows a little earlier than we used to, so maybe people are still hopping in at like the half-hour mark. And Manny says, could you please recap FanDuel pitchers? I missed it, please. And it is a little harder on FanDuel because we don't have the 4K cheapie like we have on DK.
Right. I mean, basically, Senga is the play with Cortez being the pivot. And, they're over 10K, but it's not that hard to get. My favorite of the cheaper than 10K is, I guess, honestly, it's Brady Singer ahead of Louis Garcia, but that's more of a kind of large field tournament play. But Senga's the play is the answer.
All right. Very good. Look, see more people saying, hey, I just got here. There you go. Actually, I already answered some of that question. Back to the QQs. FanDuel Cash. Cheese, right back to you, man. 3v3. Witt, Acuna, Teoscar, or TK Judge, Rowdy?
Witt, Acuna, Teoscar.
Very good. FanDuel Cash. Achilles comes with the double questions, which I guess will allow it. This is essentially a 2v2 followed by a 3v3, Cheese.
5v5.
First, it's a 5v5, though the two are not tied in. Mountcastle, Albies, or McNeil, Goldie? FanDuel Cash.
McNeil, Goldie.
And then Senga, Castro, Contreras, or Garcia, Goldie, McNeil?
I would definitely go with the Senga side in cash.
Yeah, I figured as much. More cash questions. I would like to remind everyone you're allowed to ask tournament questions as well. We have $1 million winner over here in Dre, and he can help. He's helpful.
I like answering questions too.
He likes doing it as well, so feel free. Also, tournaments are fun, and you should be playing them. DK Cash, Cheese, Mullins, Rep Snyder, or Nimmo and Chaz?
Mullins, Ref.
Can Cheese just give me his favorite 8 hitters, one at each position, please? And that's Dean. Yeah. NBA DFS says, FanDuel Cash, Cheese, Hensley, Mullins, or McNeil, Nimmo?
Hensley, Mullins.
Very good. Here we go. All right, we needed. Okay, hang on. DK Cash, one more. Telez, Belly, and Pollock as my cheapies in cash. That you okay with that, Cheese?
Those are exactly the 3 that I would choose.
Those are the ones. Very good. MHD says, DK GPP Dre, I need a dirt cheap catcher. A dirt cheap catcher.
What's dirt cheap? Like 2K? Or
That's
are you
right.
talking about less?
2K,
Christ.
I assume.
Is it a one? Oh my gosh! I mean, is it a one-off?
I feel like there was one dirt cheap one-off catcher, right? Wasn't there one?
We talked about Jeffers, but Jeffers is 2.5. I don't know if it's just 2.5K. So, like, if you want to go a little bit cheaper, Luis Campesino for San Diego. If you want to use him, you can as well. That's not a bad option if you want to just throw him in there. Because I do like San Diego righties and a lot against Lauer today.
Okay, very good. Is Sandoval playable? I'll let either of you answer that one in single entry GPPs.
Anyone is playable today.
Yeah, that really is the answer. Like, today is that day where anyone's playable. So far this year, like, he doesn't look right yet. Like, he's supposed to be a strikeout pitcher. He has struck out slightly more guys than me, barely in 2 starts. So, and he's not cheap, so I don't love it. But yeah, I mean, he's viable.
Yeah. All right. Very good. FanDuel GPP, is it okay to fade Rutschman? And what are your thoughts on Pasquantino? I will answer this one. It's always okay. Here it's a GPP. You don't have to play anybody. You can fade Rutschman. But that's my answer. You probably want to hear that from Cheese. Cheese, in a FanDuel GPP, is it okay to fade Rutschman? And what are your thoughts on Pasquantino?
Yeah, of course. He's not even one of the top 8 players on FanDuel. So definitely okay to fade him.
Oh, that's a good point. You don't even need to play a catcher on FanDuel. Yeah. I didn't even really consider that. Yeah. All right. Thoughts on Pasquantino?
I mean, I mentioned him at first as another cheap play. I prefer Rowdy Tellez, but he's a good pivot off of Tellez and Josh Naylor on FanDuel.
All right. Very good. Where are we at here? Fanduel GPP, Dre, Henderson or Santander to round out an Oriole stack? Henderson or Santander to round out an Oriole stack? Fanduel GPP.
Santander.
Very good. MH, let's see. DK Cash, Lau, or maybe it's Low. I never know. You got to give me a first name or I don't know. Or Horner.
And because that's a second baseman, that's going to be Brandon Lau. I would play Lau.
Okay, very good. Can we end the show with Cheese singing some Colin Ray? It is a Friday after all. Who is Colin Ray?
So Colin Ray started for the Brewers last night, and Colin Ray is a 90s country singer that you would recognize a bunch of songs.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Did you somehow work in like how did you
I
know
tweeted
this?
about it last night. Like
there we go.
Yeah, like Colin Ray is honestly one of my favorites, and Colin.
Can
Ray
I get one song that the general population would definitely know, or do I have to Google it?
You have. I don't want to surprise you. Like,
okay.
I want you to think about it.
Okay, I'm gonna Google it. By the way, Dean in the chat says, "When 2 free weeks of RG Premium, reply to this tweet with the winner." And I think that's really Dean. I don't think it's a spam that's gonna hack your system. So if you want 2 free weeks of RG Premium, copy paste that into your thing. Hammer says, "Please don't sing Cheese's bed." Cheese is actually a great singer. It's no joke. He is a professional singer. All right, let me. I'm going to look up these songs, and at the meantime, I'm going to take a few more questions here. FanDuel GPP's Cheese, in your article, you didn't mention him as a salary saver, but do you like Vogelbach as a salary saver one-off?
I don't really. I mean, he's fine, but not really.
Okay. Cheese, your favorite stack in a large field tournament?
Seattle.
I don't think I know any of these guys' songs, Cheese. I'm not going to lie to you.
If you don't recognize the title, like there's no way you wouldn't recognize some of them.
That's probably
no
true.
way.
Okay, that's probably true. DK, here we are. FanDuel Cash, Cheese, Wit or Gunner?
Wit.
Dre, I'm coming to you. Thompson, Rutschdog. This is a FanDuel GPP. Thompson, Rutschdog, or Kelenic and Rodriguez?
It's the first one.
Can I get a pronouncer on Kelenic? Is it Kelenic or Kelenic?
I thought it was Kelenic.
I honestly don't know.
We don't know.
Because I've heard it 3 ways too many times.
Yeah, and you've heard all 3 of those ways from me. Like every day.
Well, no, that's the thing. I've heard all 3 of them from baseball people. So
all right.
I don't know. I haven't heard him say it.
All right. If you have heard him say it, if you were friends with him or his brother, father,
that's a good point. I'm friends with his brother. I should ask him.
You should, yeah. Just ask his brother. Let us know so that I can try not to butcher that. Houston, by the way, was going to open the roof. This is a somewhat notable note. Houston was going to have the roof open, which they do twice a year, and I was pretty excited. And then in the last minute, they're like, never mind. We don't want to let the people enjoy outdoor baseball. So it's closed. So that makes it slightly less good for hitting, but also it's always closed. So it's just kind of the way it always is now. Your favorite spend up in the outfield? Cheese, your favorite spend up in the outfield?
Ohtani.
Okay, that's good. FanDuel Cash, Wit or Gunner?
Wit.
DK Cash, Cheese, your best outfielder at 42 hundo or below?
42. It's a strange little number. Brandon Nimmo.
Very good. What are your thoughts in FanDuel, Dre? This one's coming for you here. What are your thoughts on N. Lopez? I think that's a Nicky Lopez. Lopez for KC.
I'm fine with it as long as he's in the stack.
Okay. Our boy Kelenic, by the way, that's again a guess on the pronunciation, apparently has all the power. Was it Wrigley the other night? Hammer says, and he hit one 485 feet.
It was actually 279 and then got in the wind.
It was
but yes, he did hit it far.
Oh, man. Eric says, can I fade Cleveland in tournaments? Dre, are you fading Cleveland in tournaments?
You can, but I'm probably not going to.
Yeah, trying to get him in. All right.
I'm not gonna have a lot of them, but I'm gonna have at least probably like one lineup of Cleveland.
Okay. DK Cash, Cheese, Lindor, Nimmo, or Mullins, Volpe?
That's close. Lindor, Nimmo.
Is Volpe like tiny and cute? Because he sounds like he's like
Oh yeah, like he's like that big. He's adorable.
He sounds like the dude, the Astros guy who I'm talking about.
Altuve.
He
makes Altuve look like a giant.
Yeah.
Cutest little Volpe.
He just sounds like the cutest little Volpe. Yeah. I don't know if you're trolling me, but he just sounds like a little man. DK single entry Dre is a 3v3 for you. Senga, Betancourt, and Josh Lowe. Or no, is it Lowe?
Mm-hmm.
Damn it. Or Sando, Zanino, Stanton.
First one.
Okay, all right, there you go. That's right, because there's three now, Lowe and Lowe, right?
Yeah, and Tampa has one of each.
I'm never gonna get it right. That's just rude. All right, we've hit 6 o'clock, but I assume Locke was not at 6 o'clock, right?
I looked. Volpe is 5'11", 180.
Oh, that's.
I wish he was a little smaller.
Yeah, he's not. That's not quite Altuve size.
It's like a normal sized human.
Yeah, right. All right. Let's see what else we got. Doing a pretty good job here, catching up on most of these QQs for what it's worth, gentlemen. We'll kill a little bit more time. Locke is in 4 more minutes. Here we go. Eric says
over under me getting my lineups in on time.
Oh, you got 4 minutes.
I'm still running the build though. It takes forever.
All right. Well, then I'll pepper cheese with some questions here.
Pepper cheese.
All right. I have Lindor. Does that count for Cleveland? But seriously, I'll be the person in the corner sobbing as Cleveland knocks the cover off. Oh, so this is the fade in Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean they are facing a really bad pitcher and a really bad bullpen in good hitting weather, and they have a lot of guys who hit the ball. So,
yeah. All right. What are the chances Berrios gets the win tonight, Cheese? What are the chances Berrios gets the win?
14%.
Okay.
Realistically, if Toronto beats Tampa, it's still probably not that likely he gets the win. I mean, Rasmussen is the better pitcher with the better team. It would probably be a bullpen thing anyway.
Mm-hmm. So that's what I was going to ask. Let's say the matchup is like 50-50 with two 50-50 pitchers. What are the chances that a pitcher gets the win? It's not 50-50.
No, it's much less likely. It depends so much on the team and the pitcher, because some teams and pitchers tend to go 6 innings, some rarely do. So it varies a lot, but it's always way less than 50.
Okay. So what, you got to go like 5 1/3, or what do you have to do to get
just 5 innings? You got to finish 5.
Yeah. Okay.
But then not have shenanigans happen, which is most of it. Like most of the time, a pitcher leaves after 5 or 6 with the lead, and then the 10 runs get scored off the bullpens, and he's no longer involved.
Right. Gotcha. All right. More questions here. Fix says Volpe sounds like the early stage evolution of a Pokemon, which I like.
It really does.
Yeah, it is. You caught a Volpe. Let's see, Bellinger or Kellenic as a one-off. I like them both. Dre, Belly, or Kelly?
Tag. I'm gonna go Kellenic.
Okay, very good. FanDuel GPP, Cheese, Belly, or Teoscar Hernandez?
Teoscar.
A few people saying on the broadcast they've been pronouncing it Kellenic. So maybe I'll go with that from now on. With how the salary has been changing on FanDuel and not so much on DK, is it possible? Is it possible FanDuel hired the old DK staff and then DK hired old FanDuel staff? Does that sound like what has likely happened, Chief?
It does not, but yeah, but like I've been saying this for 3 years, because it used to be like DK was the sharper pricing. FanDuel has simply been the sharper pricing site for the last 3 years.
Yeah. You know what that reminded me of? That I almost got fired. I was 1 minute away from getting fired because don't forget, you can sign up for the FanDuel Sportsbook if you're in a legal sports betting state. Take advantage of their awesome bonus offer. New customers bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets. Terms and conditions do apply. Big shout out to our sponsor site, FanDuel, for keeping this show free. And really, all we ask is that they get eyeballs. That's all they want. And in order to get eyeballs, we need thumbs ups. If translation, transitive property, you hit the thumbs up, we can keep the show free. You are in charge of keeping the show free. No pressure. It's your choice. Interest in Bogarts and San Diego stacks? Dre, I feel like you were talking about San Diego stacks. You got some Bogarts?
I do have them in my ones. I'm running 10 lineups tonight because I didn't get that many in. But I do have them in my San Diego stack.
Okay, very good. Cheese, Rosario or Brennan? If you're going under 3K on DK, Rosario or Brennan?
Rosario.
Very good. FanDuel Cash, Cheese, Sao Paulo, Tellez or Pasquantino?
Tellez.
Cheese, in a GPP, would you rather Senga and a Cleveland-Seattle 4-4 or Garcia and a Cleveland-Tampa 4-4?
Senga, Cleveland-Seattle.
That was a quick answer for that. Hey, you good, Dre? You got
I
what
didn't
you
get
want?
I got it in, but I didn't get
Okay,
no
good.
Cleveland. But it is what it is.
All right. Well, you're fading Cleveland, whether incidental or not. We got the pony that says I'm out of here, and I think with that, we got Cheese's horse. We got Boomer saying I'm out. So for Cheese, for Dre, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes, guys, we appreciate you. We love you. We will catch you tomorrow. You have been crunched.